Many of the most iconic and delicious foods from the 80s can still be found today if you look hard enough. The 1980s were a vibrant decade, not just culturally, but also in terms of culinary innovation. Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. For decades, breakfast cereals either focused on being healthy and bland, or so sugary you would bounce away from the table like an amped-up kangaroo. But in 1984, this one iconic cereal would add a touch of savory spice to our breakfast tables, one that's still immensely popular today. We're talking about Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Conceived to replicate the flavor of cinnamon sugar toast, Cinnamon Toast Crunch instantly became a favorite among kids and adults alike. Most people who were kids at the time have fond memories of the original mascot, Chef Wendell, singing while he baked the cereal in those Saturday morning TV commercials.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
However, just know that the recipe for the cereal was slightly altered in 2012 to include more whole grains and reduced sugar and sodium content. Other innovations over the years have included French Toast Crunch, Chocolate Toast Crunch, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch Churros. But if you want to try the real thing, it's easy to find on grocery store shelves. Original New York Seltzer. Before the 80s, when people thought of the word seltzer, they probably pictured clowns shooting themselves with carbonated bottles. Or maybe they didn't think of it at all, because there were much more delicious soft drinks available. Ones with sugar, caramel coloring, and caffeine. But one brand that stood the test of time amongst the world of sugary colas, the original New York Seltzer. A carbonated drink first produced in 1981, this yummy beverage distinguished itself by being non-caffeinated and featuring loads of natural flavors without any preservatives or artificial colors. Though the brand dropped off in the 90s, the seltzer boom of the 2000s provided a great opportunity for a comeback. Today, you can still find New York Seltzer next to competitors like LaCroix, Spindrift, and Hal's New York Seltzer Water, which makes original New York Seltzer a classic. Cool Ranch Doritos. If there's one flavor that stands out to anyone from the 80s and 90s, it's ranch. From salads to wings to pizza, ranch dressing is the perfect complement to virtually any meal or snack. But what happens when you combine the flavor of ranch with corn chips? Well, you might say the result is pretty cool. Cool Ranch Doritos jumped onto the snack scene in 1986, and have since become nearly as iconic as Doritos themselves. Back then, every birthday party featured kids wiping Cool Ranch Dorito dust off Nintendo controllers. Luckily, you can still do the same today, while enjoying some much better graphics. But did you know that in European markets, where ranch dressing is less common, these Doritos are marketed under names like Cool Original or Cool American?
Crunch all you want, we'll make more.
Eggo Waffles. Here's an iconic breakfast brand that actually goes much further back than the 80s. However, as with many other food items, the 80s were a time of innovation and experimentation, and toasted breakfast waffles were no exception. Eggo Waffles were invented in 1953, and in 1968, the brand was acquired by the Kellogg Company, which pretty much dominated breakfast tables in the United States. Though tasty on their own, the 80s saw new flavors like blueberry arrive on the scene. Of course, the brand remains huge today, making up more than 70% of the frozen waffle market. That means you can still yell "Lego my Eggo" at your brothers and sisters as you fight over the last waffle. Eggo Waffles have even become a pop culture staple thanks to the Netflix series Stranger Things, where they serve as the character Eleven's favorite snack.
You what?
I just can't stop thinking about waffles.
Hot Pockets. You haven't known pain unless you've taken one of these out of the microwave and failed to let it cool enough before chomping down on it. Somehow, these little goodies can go from frozen to lava in just about 2 minutes. Give up? We're talking about Hot Pockets, of course. These microwavable turnovers were developed by Chef America Inc. in 1983. At the time, they were one of the first frozen items that kept the sandwiches crispy when microwaved, mainly thanks to their novel packaging sleeve and dough formula. Hot Pockets marked a significant innovation in convenience food, providing a quick and tasty option for meals or snacks. Today, you can still burn your mouth on dozens of delicious flavors. Still, we all know pepperoni pizza is the best one. Nerds. It's rare for a candy to insult itself, but this Willy Wonka product had no problem being the awkward kid on the shelf. In fact, despite being little more than hard globs of flavored sugar, they remain a favorite snack to this day. Nerds were introduced in 1983 by the Sunmark Corporation under the Willy Wonka Candy Company brand, which was initially established to promote the film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The candy quickly gained popularity, leading to its recognition as Candy of the Year by the National Candy Wholesalers Association in 1985. Over the years, these geeky goodies have evolved a lot, expanding into different flavors and introducing new products like Nerds Rope and Big Chewy Nerds. If you're wondering, they still come in dual flavored boxes, which allowed you to mix and match flavors. That makes these nerds cool.
And you get 2 flavors in a box. Quite handy if you have a split personality.
Fruit roll-ups. Don't play with your food. That's something we all heard when we were growing up. However, General Mills challenged that assertion in 1983 when it introduced a special fruit snack that sometimes had punch-out items you could fiddle with to prolong your snack times. We're talking about fruit roll-ups, a unique sugary product rooted in a much older tradition of fruit leather. Essentially, it was fruit-flavored, pressed sugar with bright colors and tangy taste flavors. And while they aren't the healthiest snack, they remain a popular item worldwide, offering various flavors and sometimes featuring fun shapes and temporary tattoos that appeal to children.
Add it to the freezer. Fruit roll-up, watermelon pop.
General Mills Bugles. Like Kellogg's, General Mills was a major snack and food brand throughout the 80s and up until today. But there was one particular snack that has polarized kids for decades. Need a hint? Well, allow me to toot my horn for a moment. Bugles, the iconic horn-shaped snack, were introduced to the American market in 1966. In fact, this represented one of General Mills' first major forays into snack foods. Though they're basically just flavored corn chips, they've become beloved by many for their crunchy texture and distinct shape. For decades now, kids have been putting Bugles on their fingers to create claws or witch hands, while other kids prefer to blow into them to see if they live up to their particular loud name. Some kids even make dunce cap finger puppets with them. I wonder what sort of adults they grew up to be. Bugles dramatically expanded their flavor options throughout the 1980s and 90s, and are still releasing new specialty versions today. There's even a Cinnamon Toast Crunch flavor. Wow, we've come full circle. Keebler Vienna Fingers. The Keebler elves were a Saturday morning staple, working hard in their tree to produce delicious cookies of all kinds. And one of the most delicious of all was Vienna Fingers. These vanilla-flavored sandwich cookies had a creamy filling, basically remaining unchanged since their introduction in 1947. But there was one problem. Vanilla is and will remain one of the most polarizing cookie flavors in history. In fact, many a brother and sister were put into timeout for fighting over Vienna Fingers and EL fudges, often resulting in a compromise on the dreaded pecan sandies.
Arcaditas? This is good stuff. Good job, Keebler. I love it.
Reese's Pieces. Our last candy is among the most iconic treats in the world, and out of this world as well. You see, in the 1920s, the founder of the Hershey Company discovered that flavor nirvana could be achieved with just 2 ingredients, chocolate and peanut butter. This resulted in the introduction of the peanut butter cup. That man's name? H.B. Reese. But it wasn't until the 1970s that someone suggested taking those 2 flavors and wrapping them in a hard candy shell. This would give us a new, even more delicious candy, Reese's Pieces. While they were technically a hit, the pivotal moment for Reese's Pieces came with the release of Steven Spielberg's 1982 summer blockbuster movie, E.T. the Extraterrestrial. After Mars declined a product placement offer for M&M's, Hershey seized the opportunity, resulting in Reese's Pieces being featured in the film instead. This partnership not only saved Reese's Pieces from declining sales, but significantly boosted its popularity, with some reports suggesting sales increased by as much as 300% following the movie's success. Today, they're still a top seller. If you like this video, give it a like and share it with your family and friends. Ask them about their favorite 80s snacks.